Now, for pregnant women, a drug which takes away morning sickness sounds almost too good to be true. 50 years ago, it was just that. Thalidomide was the miracle pill prescribed for nausea, but it had some devastating effects. Here's Louise Fenby.
In the 1950s, the drug thalidomide was seen as the answer to stop nausea and vomiting during pregnancy. Then, in 1961, it was linked to deformities in 10,000 children worldwide, over 450 of them in the UK. The thalidomide victims, many with severe handicapping of the arms, fought a long battle for compensation from the company which manufactured the drug. In the 70s, a thalidomide trust fund agreed to pay them an annual sum, but thalidomiders now argue that this is not enough. When the fund was set up, the victims of the tragedy were not expected to live very long, but many now have families of their own. Also, as their bodies age, their living costs have spiralled. Those physically able to drive require specialist cars, and many need expensive wheelchairs. They also say the government has never admitted its part in the tragedy by allowing the drug to be licensed. Now, thalidomider Gary Skyner and his mum Frances have gone on hunger strike. They want the government to pay £8.5 million a year to the trust until 2037 as a way of supporting sufferers nationwide.
Well, Gary and his mother join us now from Merseyside. Good morning to you both. So you're on day 5 of the hunger strike. How are you feeling?
Surprisingly, not bad. Monday night was the real bad night, because I was getting headaches, and I've spoken to a sports nutritionist who's told me that the worst thing I could do is drink coffee. That you know, just kicks off the system that makes you get headaches. So we're drinking more tea, hot water. Just keeping myself warm, and I'm just going about my daily duties and trying to be as normal as possible. As you can see, I'm not exactly the slimmest of people. It's the nutritional starvation really that's going to cause a problem eventually. But hopefully, Louise Elman, the MP, come to see me yesterday, and maybe people are starting to listen. I just hope that's the case.
Well, and Frances, how are you?
I'm not so bad, thank you. I've had Bovril and water, coffee, nothing much more since last Monday.
Right. So you're feeling a bit tired, I'm assuming, though?
I am a little bit, yes, because I'm on medication anyway. So I do worry, you know, about it.
I'd rather she wasn't doing this. I mean, she's like 72 years old. It surely shows the desperation of the situation for both of us to make this stance. It's ridiculous. I'm very proud to be British, Penny, but this is a national disgrace. This is absolutely... it's 50 years on this. Nobody's knocked on my door and said sorry. I'm one of the lucky ones. If you look at the picture that I'm holding up here, the two lads in the picture are Freddie Ashby and Kevin Donnellan. They've got no arms and legs. These two lads here, if I get cheesed off, I can at least get up and walk around the house, go and sit in the garden. These lads, if they smoke, somebody has to put a cigarette in their mouth. Every meal has to be made. They have to have the food cut up. It's a 24-hour, 7-day a week. It's a ritual, and they need somebody with them. They can't survive without a carer 24 hours a day.
And Gary, just sorry to interrupt you there, Gary. But you know, what do you? I know you want the government to put this money into this trust that was set up at a time when it was thought that those who had thalidomide or suffered from thalidomide were not going to live such a long time. But you've made your point now. Are you going to stop the hunger strike now?
No, not at all. I mean, I basically won't stop until Andy Burnham and Mike O'Brien MP QC, some of the letters that Mike O'Brien MP and Andy Burnham's office have written to me are just out and out lies. They're out and out lies. This government, they gave a licence to a company who sold us the drug. That company didn't do sufficient tests, and this government didn't do sufficient tests. everybody waking up around Great Britain now, whatever tablet you take, you can be safe in the knowledge that it's been tested time and time and time again because of us. We are the guinea pigs that have just been left to die, and it's ridiculous.
Gary, thank you very much. And also, obviously, Andy Burnham, I mean, obviously would dispute the fact that what he said was lies, and it wasn't this government, of course, it was the government of 40 years ago who were actually involved in that. But Gary, thank you very much, and Francis, thank you too. Now, Department of Health spokesperson has given us this statement. We have the greatest sympathy for patients and families affected by thalidomide. Those affected by thalidomide continue to be compensated through a private settlement with Diageo PLC, which is administered by the Thalidomide Trust. Diageo continues to make annual payments to the Trust, and under the latest settlement will pay a total of £150 million by 2037. Representatives of the Trust have met Mike O'Brien, Minister of State for Health Services, and are due to have a follow-up meeting shortly to further discuss their concerns.
28 minutes past 6 is the time right now. Let's get the weather with Kirsty.